This show is a production of Priscilla Pens and Scribbles.
Welcome to this first episode of the PPS Club podcast edition with Tara Emmanuel. I'm Tara Emmanuel, and today I prepared something very personal and special for you guys. And I don't have any guests, so it's just me today. So, in today's episode, I decided to have one of my characters from my first novel joining us. And I'm not going to give you a lot of backstory about him because some of you have already met him. For those who have read Needling, which is posted on the PPS Club newsletter edition on Substack, this guy's name is Ronald. So what happens is he was the man talking in that story, though we only mentioned his brother's name, which is Romney. So these two brothers are part of my work in progress because it's still a work in progress, even though the first draft is finished. And the reason why I titled the section "I'm Never Going to Do This Again" is because this section is about the excerpt that I'm going to share with you guys, and it's more like an interview, a character interview with Ronald Preston, the antagonist in the novel. So, the first draft of the first book has been rewritten many times, especially in the beginning until about halfway through. I have deleted so many parts, and it was my first novel, so a lot of things were just not working. And when I rewrote the entire manuscript that I had before writing the last third of the book, I finally ended up with a story that I knew I could work with. And so what happened is that the deleted scenes now sitting in my computer were not gonna make it into the second book, and they were not even gonna make it into the second draft of the first book, which is why I decided to write a bunch of short stories from those deleted parts because they would help me craft better characters. So for those who read the first draft of the first book, it was posted on Wattpad and it was removed from the platform in the beginning of February because I had to rewrite that book to have a second draft. And a lot of things have changed, and I deleted more scenes, and I definitely could have a bunch of other stories into that world. Plus, I wanted to make sure that whatever comes after was really fast paced and action packed and also more advanced. So I've decided while I'm writing mediocre fantasy to also learn a lot of techniques and a lot of new things that would help me nourish my sci-fi world, because I realized how difficult it is to write sci-fi. If you remove all the actions and you remove all the science, you don't have much left. And my subplot was a romance, so I had to have a happily ever after or a happy for now. And it turned out that after I wrote the epilogue of the first book, I ended up having this idea with one of the deleted scenes that I later turned into short stories that later became the base for the second book, which I'm not going to reveal yet. So what happened was that after I wrote the epilogue of the first book ended on a happily ever after. So I decided to, tell the story of this young man who is a hero and who is a promising husband to my main character of the first book. There had to be some drama, so I brought in some kind of drama, which transformed the happily ever after into a happy for now. And because of that, the story in the second book is looking incredible. The story of this couple is looking incredible. And because I killed off a main character in the first book, I decided to also make sure that this person was going to get some justice. You know what I'm saying? You can't just kill a main character like that. I felt like Shonda Rhimes by killing this man, even though he was an antagonist. He still deserved some justice. So his name is Ronald. For those who have read Needling, which was published on my Substack, Ronald Ronald's name was not mentioned, but his brother's name, Romney, was mentioned. And Romney is his big brother. And Romney is a scientist. Romney is somebody who was always protecting family because family was only both of them. So today we are meeting Ronald off stage. The reason why he was an antagonist in the first book was like because originally he wanted to be a hero, but things didn't go as planned, and Ronald found himself being the antagonist because he was a pawn and didn't know. And when he found out, it was a little too late, when he found out that it was just a pawn in a much bigger conspiracy that he couldn't stop from the inside. And the dark side won. And it had to be this way so that my hero, the real hero of the story, would shine, would thrive alongside her comrades. And that's what the story turned out to be. And we are trying to go a little deeper into the life of this character that I am struggling to let go of because it's not the hero of the story, but he's got to be the hero of his own story. So we're gonna give him that today. So after the short break, we're going to welcome him and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself in a scene that I crafted and we wrote until we ended up here. It's nothing like needling, which you can always read because it's going to be there on my Substack and it's free to read. Just now it's going to be something else and we're going to make sure that we get to understand. So I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. It's going to be a little, preview in the book, and then we're going to see him a few months later, and no spoilers, but it doesn't end very well for him in the book, in the main narrative, but he gets to be the hero of his own story. We're going to take a short break and then I'm going to come back and have a little conversation with Ronald.
Ronald, what have you done again? What did you do? What happened? Well, first, I don't know what she said with that pretty face of hers, but the rage got into me and I pulled the trigger right under her chest. I could tell by the priceless look on her face she could have never expected this. At least I wouldn't have expected this. So good for the both of us and her past victims. I just killed somebody in cold blood, and I never knew it wouldn't bother me much. Oh, come on. Yes, of course you did kill someone. But why? Did Romney have to kill to get out too? Well, this is my story, Arthur. I thought I was going to tell it in my own POV. Do you mind? Okay, well, go ahead then. No pressure. Thanks. So, I hear what sounds like a group of guards inside the facility looking for me. I hurry and use the fire exit to get to the underground parking lot without being seen. I also hear footsteps coming up from the floor below. As I open the door, I hide back inside. The footsteps draw closer by the minute. It sounds like people are climbing while carrying a heavy load. Who would be dumb enough to not use the lift? Now they're taking up my time, I think. Come on, Rick. Hurry. You are taking too many breaks. We need to get this to the roof before anyone notices the shipment is missing from the warehouse. I hear one man shout as they get near my hiding place. Is the helicopter there yet? The second man asked. It's been waiting for us since 5 minutes ago now. Push harder. Stop being lazy, Rick. I'm pushing harder. You are the one not pulling hard enough. I feel bored with the conversation. The only interesting part being the chopper waiting on the roof. Without a car at my disposal, the best thing for me is to hijack that chopper. But how? I can't do this anymore, Rick. The first man complained. They seem to have gotten closer. Why didn't we just use the lift then? The Rick guy once again. Well, that's because the boss specifically said not to use it, Rick. There is too much traffic in the building since the breach, and this wasn't part of the plan. Mr. Preston doesn't want the firm to know he went behind their backs and started working for the enemy. What in the world? Are they saying my brother is working with the enemy? I remember Nora saying the exact opposite. Is it possible Romney double-crossed her while she was also going behind his back? I don't get enough time to feel confused as the steps are closing in. As soon as the two guys pass the door, I kick it open with as much strength as I could muster and hit one man, shoving him down the stairs unconscious. Using my gun, I smack the second guy, who is much bigger than the first one, on the head. The tall man throws his foot into my stomach and I fall on my back, rolling down the staircase before hitting the wall like a ball. I have never kissed the dust with a busted lip before. It's horrible. The giant man pulls me by my shirt and punches me between my left eye and my forehead. He throws another punch, then another one, and another one. My face feels like an alien body part attached to me when he uses his knee to punch me in the stomach, as if he figured where to hit next. I put my hands forward and grab his thigh and pull it with all my strength, throwing him against the staircase. I pull him by the collar of his uniform and start throwing blows left and right until his face is covered in blood. I turn him around, his butt cheeks rubbing against the floor, and I use my forearm to strangle him. "Let me go," the man pleads. He attempts to touch my eyes with his bloody hands, but I tighten my grip around his neck. "Let me go." "Where is Romney Preston? And what's in that box?" I ask him. The man still tries to grab my face while his arms get tired soon enough for me to release his neck. "Answer me now," I order brutally. "I only got orders from Nora to steal the box from the basement and send it with the helicopter, sir. I know nothing else." "Useless bastard. You don't even know how to lie." I smack him with the gun and knock him out. There is only one thing I can do now. So I take his uniform from him and wear it. Thankfully, I'm big enough for his uniform to fit. I climb to the roof of the lab. I climb the stairs and open the door to the roof as it's dark, save for the lights of the landing track. I remember how I've been afraid of heights and couldn't possibly do this under normal circumstances. I approach the chopper slowly so the pilot wouldn't see me, and I point the gun at him. "I'm only going to ask you once. Where is the chopper set to go?" I ask. "Please, don't shoot me," the man says. "I'm supposed to pilot this to Silver Hills, near the city center. I was following orders. Please, don't kill me." He speaks, confusion showing on his face, probably because I'm dressed like the man he's supposed to be working with. I decide to question him further. "So, who sent you here?" The man hesitates before answering. Answer or I'll shoot you in the head, I threaten with rage. It's the department marked on my uniform, the man says with a trembling voice. I was hoping it'd say my brother's name. Does it mean the Primaland Secret Service was working with Nora? I want to find out who is pulling the strings now that she's dead. Take me where you were headed, I order the guide and buckle up next to him. The man maneuvers and we lift high up in the sky in the darkest of nights. I feel like I'm going to vomit. I have been afraid of heights since I was a child. Unlike my brother, I was never meant to be a hero. I always left that part to him. Now I don't know who he is. And who I am either. The end. Oh wow. I don't know what to say. Is that what happened after you woke up from whatever Nora did to you in the other story back there? Yes. That's exactly what I recount before the clone apocalypse, you know. Okay, alright. Let's not spoil anything, Ronald. But I want you to know I'm sorry you had to go through all that, because those who read the book didn't know that's what happened. Well, thanks, Tara. But we both know you make the rules, not me. That's right. Still sorry though. Well, this is goodbye for now then. Goodbye, Ron. Goodbye, Tara.
So friends, we are almost at the end of our episode, and it's time for us to have our word of the month, which is the last section of this episode and the last section of the podcast in general. So now the word of the month is not a single word, it's rather an expression which is going to be derived from one of the languages that I speak fluently, and it's going to be translated into the other languages so that we can all learn to say something in one of those two languages. So this month, April, I'm not going to be a fool, so I decided to pick a word of the month from the language that I speak with much less ease compared to the other two, and that language is Lingala. Lingala is not a dialect. Unfortunately, we Africans and non-English speaking countries have this bad habits of calling our own languages dialects. While this is one of the official languages of my country, so it's definitely not a dialect. It is very much a language at the same level as French for our country, just that French is the official educational language. Then we have 4 national languages, and Lingala is one of them. So the word of the month is from Lingala, and the word of the month is Salila Tango. I will say it again. The word of the month of April is Salila Tango. It's 2 words, but in English, Salila Tango means make good use of your time. And that's on April. And so in French, most of the French people speak English, so I'm sure you already got that. Mais je vais le dire en français. Et donc, notre mot pour le mois d'avril, c'est Salela Tango en Lingala, qui veut dire en français faire bon usage de ton temps. Faites bon usage de votre temps, faites bon usage de ton temps. Yeah. we've been in all these conversations about what the world is going to be now that we have COVID and all that in the writing community. And most people are looking at whatever is being written now to find some sort of meaning and direction. So if you're a writer, I would say make good use of this time, of this season, of your talent and your gift. Put it to good use. Have a blessed month of April, y'all. May God help us make good use of our time. And I love you guys. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you for trusting me with your ears. Next week, we're going back to the written word. I'm going to send my newsletter out on Substack and in your inboxes on Friday. And until then, don't forget to spawn, show, and sway. Bye bye.
This show is a production of Priscilla Spence and Scribbles.